think folks might have heard of them because they actually basically got traded for one another, and that's Chris Paul and Russell Westbrook. And I think it's one of the most fascinating All-Star debates we've ever had because, as I mentioned, these guys were traded for each other, and a funny thing happened, Jason. When you look at these teams who basically swapped the guys they had, obviously the Thunder also ended up losing, an all-star caliber player in Paul George, who, we can talk about in a moment as someone who really, if he had been healthy all year, very well may have made the team as well. But they lose both of those guys. Last year, Jason, they go 49-33 with both of those guys. That is approximately a 60% winning percentage. They lose both of those guys, and many predict that they will be a non-playoff team. They might need to rebuild a little bit, and they really the main import that they get, they do end up with Danilo Gallinari, who's played well, but the main guy is Chris Paul. And Jason, they're at a 58.3 winning percentage this year. So it's fair to say that they really haven't fallen off much. And when you think about that, I think that's a testament to the way that Chris Paul has played for this team. He's been one of the best clutch players in the league, and he's pretty much done whatever they needed, in spite of the fact that he's in a situation that clearly is not really what he was hoping for. And to me, he's just been a guy who impacts winning. He's helped this team win games. That's what it's all about. And so for me, as much as the counting stats are better for Westbrook, I couldn't get myself to pick Westbrook over Paul with the way that he's impacted this young Thunder team and just kind of taken them under his wing, gotten them into a winning culture, and helped them just kind of become a surprise team in the West. So ultimately, I totally respect the Westbrook pick, but I couldn't get there given the way that he's been able to lead this Thunder team that had kind of struggled under Westbrook's leadership.
Well, I think if CP3 does get selected, he'll kind of be that elder statesman in there with LeBron James, and which has been an infusion of young talent the last couple of years.
Yeah.
So just to recap, in the West, I have Jokic, Donovan Mitchell, Damian Lillard, Rudy Gobert, Brandon Ingram, Karl Anthony Towns, and Russell Westbrook, with the toughest omissions being CP3 and Paul George. We didn't even bring up. That's how hard it is to select all-stars in the West. You have, same as me, Lillard, Jokic, Gobert, Mitchell, and Ingram, and then you have Chris Paul and Devin Booker, with your omissions being Towns or Westbrook. So I think a nice, healthy debate. But before we move on, if my selections are right, and again, not tooting our own horn, but we could see 10 first-time All-Stars this year. You already have Doncic, Young, and Siakam. And if I have things my way, you'll have Mitchell, Gobert, Ingram, Adebayo, Tatum, Levine, and Dinwiddie. So that would be nearly half of the 22-man All-Star, 24-man All-Star game pool would be first-timers, which would be incredible and just good and healthy for the future of this league. I mean, do you have any final thoughts on All-Star Reserve predictions before we move into our new segment? Well, not new segment, but
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I'll say is even if it goes the way that I'm predicting, you'll still have a couple new All Stars there. I think we'll have one less, but obviously Booker would be a first-time All Star, and so would Sabonis. So even if it goes my way, you're only going to be down one guy. So there's going to be a lot of new All Stars. I mean, I think we can pretty confidently make that prediction, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I mean, it shows where the league's at, and that it's headed to a good place, and there's kind of a stewardship. But other than that, I mean, Jason, I think it's time we get to our marquee matchups, which we're gonna honor Kobe Bryant and call these our Kobe Bryant marquee matchups. I thought that was a nice touch, Jason.
didn't even
Um,
tell you about it.
yeah, I know, and I kind of think that in honor of him, we have to go a little out of order today, Jason. Um, and I think we have to go with a Lakers game. So do you want to tackle which one you decided?
I do. The only caveat is obviously the Lakers were supposed to play Tuesday against the Clippers, and which was a highly touted matchup. Given everything that's happened, it's, I think, a good decision. I said on our last show that the NBA canceled the game, but I think for the Lakers, it'll be good to get out there and honor Kobe. Getting back out on the court Friday night, January 31st, taking on the Portland Trailblazers, in which will be a big game. You have Carmelo Anthony coming to town, who said on Sunday night that he had plans to get together with Kobe, when the Blazers got to LA. So I think it'll be good for LeBron and Melo to see each other, given the relationship the two men had with Kobe. And I think it's going to be a good game with these guys playing their hearts out for Kobe. So I think that is our first and most important Kobe Bryant marquee matchup of the week. And I think we should coin this segment, I think, every week. I mean, what do you say we keep it?
There we go. We can also say that the Blazers will be playing at the soon-to-be-named Bryant Center as well, so that's exciting. Um, the second one we have here is the Utah Jazz traveling to Denver to play the Nuggets. This is a little out of order because this will be on Thursday, but that should be a great game. The Jazz, we both have them getting 2 All-Stars. I think that's a credit to Quinn Snyder, the way that they've been playing. Even after kind of some struggles, and this is a team that always struggles in the first half, by the way. The Jazz are a robust 32-14. The Nuggets have the same record. I think it's going to be really interesting to see. The Jazz are notoriously slow starters every year. And for them to only be 4 games out of first, Jason, if I was other Western Conference teams, I would be pretty scared of that team. They also have a home heavy schedule down the stretch, and we all know how tough it is to play in Utah. So I think this is a team to watch in the second half, and they might end up even winning the regular season crown for the Western Conference.
And for our third and final Kobe Bryant marquee matchup of the week, we'll switch to the East, give them some love. Sixers and Celtics, which I think is a marquee matchup every single time that they play. I think this is their fourth and final meeting of the regular season. Could be a potential playoff matchup, something to tune in for. Joel Embiid's back. Actually, in Tuesday night's game, he hit a fadeaway to give himself 24 points, and he yelled Kobe. So I thought that was pretty cool. But always a good time and a good matchup when these two Atlantic Division foes meet.
Yeah, absolutely. And these are 2 teams that really have to kind of figure out what's going on. The Sixers have had some struggles, and while everyone's been talking about the Sixers and how they've underachieved, Jason, this Celtics team is 5-5 in their past 10 games, so it's been kind of interesting. I feel like teams have been really focusing on the struggles of the Sixers. Meanwhile, they're 7-3 their last 10. The Celtics and the Heat are both closer to 500, so it's kind of interesting because we're seeing that the race for that second seed is really, really tightening, Jason. There's only 3 games between 6 and 2 right now in the East. So it's anyone's to grab. And, it's going to be pretty interesting to see how that plays out because that's going to be pretty important. You do not want to end up as the 4 or 5 probably this year because you're going to be playing someone tough. And likewise, because of that separation, and I think this only adds to the importance of these matchups, you really don't want to finish anywhere 4, 5, 6 because your second round opponent is going to be a heck of a good team, while whoever gets the 2 seed is likely going to get the Nets or the Magic. And no offense to those teams, Jason. I mean, you and I both like the Nets and think the Magic are a good team. You'd probably much rather play one of them than the other teams I mentioned between the Heat, Celtics, Sixers, Pacers, and Raptors. So could be an important game for the standings as well.
Absolutely. So, what's crazy, Ben, given everything with Kobe and us talking hoops, I mean, this feels like the least Super Bowl preview week that I can remember. I mean, this game is almost an afterthought. Super Bowl opening night in Miami, everyone was talking about Kobe. I think that as the week wears on, I think that, more and more casual fans will kind of shift to, getting ready for the game where this San Francisco 49ers are taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. So before we go, Ben and I just wanted to give our Super Bowl predictions. And for the sake of argument, thankfully we disagree. So I'm going to go first, and I'm going to say that behind Jimmy Garoppolo, who will throw more than 8 passes, unlike what he did in the NFC Championship game, but I think that the 49ers will best the Chiefs 28-24. Both teams have monster front sevens, but I just think the way San Francisco is playing defensively, all 11 guys just ball hawking, and the way that Raheem Mostert's running the ball, I think that the 49ers emerge victorious 28-24 over the Chiefs.
So I hope I'm wrong. I'm going to preface it with this, but I have a feeling this game could get out of hand for the 49ers pretty quickly. I think this might be a game where the 49ers defense, as good as it's been, realizes that they have a pretty tough task ahead of them against a guy who has a chance to be an all-timer in Patrick Mahomes. And I feel like this is going to be the type of game where the Chiefs are going to try and get out ahead early in this game. And if that happens, that's going to completely change the way this game is played, because we saw a team like we saw the 49ers play a similar game, I mean to say, against the Ravens, where they were able to keep up. I don't know if they are ready for a multifaceted offense as fast as the Chiefs. And to me, if I'm Andy Reid and I'm Mahomes, I'm going to go straight at the jugular, because we saw what just happened in the last two games the Niners played, where they get up and then they run the ball down your throat. And if you are a fan of the Chiefs or someone who's rooting for them in this game, you have to get that lead early against this team and make Jimmy Garoppolo throw the ball. Nothing against George Kittle, great player, Emmanuel Sanders, Deebo Samuel, great players. But you got to make him throw to those guys, because when they run the ball, it's a different kind of ball game for them. And letting them kind of take over that way is not a way to win a football game. So I think they try to get up early and make Jimmy throw the ball not 7 times, but more like 40, 50 times. And if they can do that, I think they come out victorious. I've got 35-21.
All right. Well, I'm glad we disagree, like I said. I think that this is not Patrick Mahomes' last time going to a Super Bowl. I think that because Garoppolo's been there twice as a backup and won twice, I think he's going to have the upper hand. And I think if the 49ers win on Sunday, this will be a wake-up call for the Chiefs. And I think if Mahomes gets back to the Super Bowl later in his career, he'll win it based on the learning experience that he will eventually face this coming Sunday. So I think that'll about do it for us this evening. We thank you for listening to both of our shows this week. Ben, do you have anything for the people before we let them go for the week?
Just remember to subscribe, rate, and review, of course. We're looking for those 5-star reviews.
We are looking for the 5-star reviews. And thanks again for listening. Enjoy the weekend of the games in the NBA. Enjoy some college hoops and enjoy the Super Bowl Sunday. We'll be back next week with another show.